Macmillan Audio presents The Truth About Immigration: Why Successful Societies Welcome Newcomers by Zeke Hernandez. Read for you by André Santana with Zeke Hernandez. Note to listeners, this audiobook has an accompanying PDF.
Introduction. You know you'll be taking a scholarship, a job, and a girl from a deserving American, right? An American friend told me that as I was agonizing over the hardest decision of my life. Should I move to the United States or stay in my home country? I was 21 years old and had just finished a 2-year service mission in Buenos Aires. Those years, between 1999 and 2001, were the run-up to the deepest economic crisis in Argentina's history. The misery I saw in the city's infamous villas, its poorest and most dangerous neighborhoods, made a deep impression on me. Tough men weeping because they couldn't feed their families. Youth driven to addiction and crime for lack of opportunity. Worried women holding hungry babies. I came to love those long-suffering and resilient people. The experience changed me. I returned home with an intense desire to help improve the economic fortunes of people in my corner of the world. But I also had the rare opportunity, at least for someone like me, of studying in the U.S. on a scholarship. The two paths seemed irreconcilable. I'm from Uruguay, a small country wedged between Brazil and Argentina. The year I was born, my father started working for our church, not as a minister, but in an office job managing financial records. When I was 4, he was transferred to Central America, where we spent 6 years in Costa Rica and Guatemala, followed by 3 more in Argentina. My father didn't get paid much, but the job came with one perk that would shape the rest of my life: attending English-speaking schools that were otherwise unaffordable. Learning English paved the way for me to apply for college in the U.S. When I returned home from Argentina with a letter of admission and a full tuition scholarship, my family and friends were certain that studying in America was a no-brainer. Few kids where I grew up could even fathom such a chance. But I had serious doubts about whether migrating was the right thing to do. The usual concerns about leaving loved ones behind and building a new life gave me pause. But more than anything, the morality of immigration gnawed at me. Would I be stealing something from that deserving American my friend mentioned? Was I copping out by choosing a cushy life in America instead of taking the harder path of staying behind to make a difference in the lives of people like those I'd met in Buenos Aires? Was my purpose manifested in being born and raised in Latin America, or in the rare chance I'd had to learn English and now study in the U.S.? Emigrating would likely be good for me, but would it hurt others, both from where I'd leave and where I was going? It was, on a personal scale, the same raging debate we're having about immigration in America and everywhere around the world these days. The fact that I had the luxury to agonize over the morality of my decision is evidence that mine was a relatively privileged migration case. While I didn't come from a wealthy family, I wasn't fleeing violence, political persecution, economic distress, or any other condition that left me little choice or might have tempted me to cross the border illegally. After weeks of back and forth, I decided to make the move. It was a close call, but I reasoned that I would have a greater impact if I got a top-notch education in America and returned home. I wouldn't be an immigrant after all, just an international student for a few years. Famous last words. Nearly 25 years later, I'm still living in the U.S., and I've written this book about the remarkably positive benefits of immigration, not for immigrants like me, but for the societies that welcome them. Any book on immigration invariably raises questions about the agenda of the author. So a little about me. I'm a professor at an Ivy League university, which to some may suggest an automatic liberal bent. I'm also a committed Christian who married young and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?